What is up, ladies and gentlemen? YouTube, that's right. I'm Chris Smith, and today I'm going to be talking about Colony, Season 1, Episode 4, called Blind Spot. Why is it called Blind Spot? Well, I'll pretty much let you know. Now, this episode I thought was actually really quite well because this kind of showed that sometimes the people that you trust are the people that you actually cannot trust. I'm sorry about the quality. I know it's not that great, but stick with me here. For the most part, like I said, I enjoyed this episode. Like, some things that really stuck out for me personally was the opening scene, particularly because of the first person view. I thought that was actually a really well done thing. It was an interesting choice to kind of show it in first person and how they kind of like the resistance is now like integrated and or infiltrated the the occupation or whatever. I thought that was actually really cool, and it showed how bashful, not bashful literally, but like how bashful, they will slam somebody's head, and they slammed the teacher. And that was some brutal shit. Also, for me particularly, I also thought Phyllis was actually really on point. The actress that played her really did a fantastic job. I didn't really notice how great of an actress she was in the series until like this episode. But sadly, some things kind of go the wrong way. Now, also a couple of good things. It was that once they find Geronimo, right, you realize that Geronimo is actually quite bullshit. He's like the Mandarin. He's only like an idea thought of by the resistance. I thought that was a very interesting thing because the moment you actually see them kind of take Geronimo allegedly in, you know this shit was not going to be a legit interrogation. This was not going to be good cop, bad cop. This is going to be like needles and knives and shit. So I thought that was an interesting way how they showed it. Also, I feel like I said this like last week, but I'm starting to feel like the occupation, whatever they are, they're pretty much like Nazis, and there's a couple like Nazi isms to the occupation for me personally. Also, eventually, Kate kind of when she burns down the house. For me personally, I thought that was at first stupid, but she had a plan because she needed to infiltrate. Jesus, infiltrate the occupation to see how the layout was. So I thought that was actually very good because obviously you can't really invade something you don't know the layout of. So also, Phil's interrogation with Kate, kind of telling her that she's full of bullshit and everything. All the interrogations she had, I thought they were all very well and on point. For me personally, though, I will say this: what I like about the show is that they don't really waste any time on side stories, or if they do, they don't actually make them pointless side stories. You get what I'm saying? So everything kind of serves a purpose, and that's what I like about this show so far. Also, when they do, the Resistance eventually tells Kate to pretty much show who is Will's boss, who is Phyllis. She points it out, and eventually they have to, they give the kill order. She still says she needs to protect her husband or whatever, and that kind of happens. Eventually, this is a spoiler alert. Brace yourself. They do kill Phyllis, right? And then eventually they kill her. And at first I was like, oh, okay, so the Resistance wants to get an upper hand. But for me personally, I feel like they actually could have played this more in their hand. They could have had Will in the inside leak and then Phyllis at the upper leak and the really top deal. Because there's some things even Will doesn't know personally. So I thought that actually could have worked better in the Resistance favor for me personally. And also just in general, I thought showing how the Resistance is not they have no morals. Really, or not in the Resistance. They also have no morals, but also the occupation and whatnot. I'm still starting to think that the aliens are really nobody, and maybe they're just humans for me personally. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. Also for the Geronimo thing, as I said, he's like the Mandarin. They also say he's in a green zone, so I'm starting to wonder. So is he a idea thought of by the Resistance or whoever it may be? But yeah, also for when Kate does a fire, Will starts to get suspicious because Phyllis is like telling him shit and whatnot. Then I just start to be like, yeah, if Will doesn't get suspicious after this episode, then I don't know what the hell to say except he's very dumb. But yeah, pretty much everybody has their blind spot, and that's kind of what the whole point of this episode was. Also, when they kill Phyllis, I thought that was a great acted line when she says, if you're gonna kill me, kill my husband also. So I thought adding the husband thing kind of added a bit more of a sympathy to a woman that you actually thought was a bit of a bitch of sorts. But yes, that's my review. I thought this was great, and the great news for anybody that actually cares about Colony, it actually did get an early renewal for season 2. So there it is. You can actually get invested into this thing. But yeah, comment, subscribe, and like. Subscribe. Signing out.